What's up, YouTube? So I wanted to do a kind of a follow-up video from the video that I did yesterday. If you haven't seen that, obviously I talked about all the rumors that the press secretary Jen Psaki was saying how there's going to be a speech by Biden and it's going to have to do with some more mandates. And sure enough, that's what happened. He went over his like 6-pillar plan, whatever you want to call it. His 666 plan, because he's the devil incarnate. But really the big one was that he's going to try and use the Department of Labor to mandate any employers that have 100+ employees to get the jab or face weekly testing, which is so stupid to me, because if you go into work on a Monday and you test, and let's just say you test negative, and then somehow you get infected or whatever on a Tuesday, you're not going to get tested again until that following Monday, which again, like, this is like all the science that just doesn't make sense, that hasn't made sense since day one. It still doesn't make sense, and again, it's never been about science, it's been about control. But this is a big nothing burger, to be honest with you. You're just going to create more divide within Americans. You're going to piss more people off. You've got your left versus right, your black versus white, your vaxxed versus unvaxxed. This divide is so apparent and so obvious to me, but to other people that don't pay attention to this, they're not seeing it. But it is. It's all about dividing, and it's all about control. So what I would tell you is to stay strong. There's millions and millions of Americans that are vehemently against this, and actually the more that they try and push against us, the more they're going to get pushed back. So you've got tons and tons of people that just aren't going to put up with this. The question that I have is, how much longer is it going to take until people start to get like actually pissed, like not just like going on social media or trying to fight their company or whatever, but they actually like physically like lose their minds. Like, that's where I think we're heading. When you take the ability for people to go make money and feed their families, there's going to be a huge problem. So I think they know that, and that's kind of what this is all leading towards. But you already have, it's 9:30, not even 24 hours since the president's speech, and you already have, I believe that the count is somewhere around half of the states, somewhere like 20-25 states are already saying they're going to fight this tooth and nail, and it's going to go to the courts. So I think what I'm trying to tell you is, don't panic. At the end of the day, they can say whatever they want on a federal level. They can make a law, but it doesn't mean anything, because it's up to the states to determine how the things are going to get rolled out. So your governors, your mayors, they're really the ones that are going to ultimately determine what happens in your state. So if you're in a far left Democratic state, and again, I'm not trying to get political, but a fact is a fact that it's the Democrats that are pushing this harder than anybody. Now, again, like, a lot of the Republicans aren't doing anything. They're just kind of like a bunch of rhinos, but most of these far right states like Florida and Texas and Montana and Idaho, whatever, like, they're fighting it. They're not going to go along with this. So I feel bad for you if you're in like New York or in Washington State and California and all these other like just far left states. Maybe it's time to think about moving. And I know that that's not easy. I know that people can't just pick up their families and move. But it's something you should probably start thinking about, how you can go about doing it, because I feel that we're going to get to a point where we have like balkanization of states, where you have 2, 3, 4 different countries within the United States, because some of these states are just going to break off, and they're just going to be like, we're just not doing this anymore. So even Fauci said the same thing, like, we're going to have 2 different US. You're going to have a segregated unvaxxed country, and then you're going to have the vaccinated. It's just wild, man. I can say one thing, that it's interesting to the time to be alive, is it not? So much happening, so much in the news constantly. You know, what really, I think, pissed me off the most about his speech, because I did watch pretty much all of it, he seemed like he was irritated. Like, and we all know that he's just a puppet. Like, he's just some guy that they put up there, you know, to say that certain things. You could also see that he was reading off the teleprompter. But he seemed more pissed about people not being vaccinated more than he was about terrorists, right? Like, they just left $80-something billion of equipment in the sand. Taliban took it. They're doing business basically with the Taliban because they haven't openly executed people, and they're working with the US government. All of a sudden now the Taliban is like, they're okay. Like, we're cool with them. We're coming up on the 20-year anniversary of probably the worst attack in our history, maybe aside from like Pearl Harbor, but and the same people that did it, you're now working with. Like, that doesn't piss you off. What pisses you off is people have free will to be able to do what they want to do, because you can't force a medical decision on people. That's what pisses you off, that people are not doing what you tell them to do, because you're not a dictator. I mean, he is, but that's not his role. He works for us. We don't work for him. You know, and he also made a very funny statement about, this isn't about freedom. This isn't about like your personal choice. Like, what? Like, what country did you grow up in? Because, I mean, as the president of the United States, I think you should know that everything about this country is about freedom and having the freedom to do what you want to do. That's what this country's been founded on. That's what we've done since the beginning. So I don't know where this guy gets off saying some of the stuff that he does, but it just blows my mind that people aren't actively trying to get this guy out of the office, when what he's done is 20 times, 30, 40, 50 times worse than anything that Trump's done. And again, like, I'm not a supporter of Trump. Like, I hope that I don't come off like that. I'm more leaning towards the right, so a lot of Trump's policies I aligned with. But as far as him being a good president, I didn't think he was that good of a president. He was a good businessman. He was good for our economy. That's about it. And he was pushing some of the things that I agree with. But he was also behind Operation Warp Speed. He's the one that caused, you know, they got the vaccines to roll out. So, like, he's not innocent. But again, like, anything that he said or did was weighed with a fine-tooth comb, you know, and measured with a fine-tooth comb. And Biden can do and say anything he wants, can fail miserably at everything. But wait, that's right, I forgot. He's gotten more rights for the transgenders. So, you know, winning, where he's doing a great job. You know, our economy is falling apart. He's doing deals with terrorists. He's forcing medical decisions on people, or forcing them out of their jobs. But, you know, he's doing a great job, and there's nothing to see here. Just move along, people. By no means do I think that they're that stupid, or that they actually believe the bullshit that they spew out of their mouths. I really don't think that at all. I think they're so in your face, like, we're gonna do and say what we want, and you're not gonna do anything about it. You're just gonna stand there and you're gonna do what we say, because we're trying to model our country after China. We see how they're rising, how they're basically better than us now, and how they treat their people, and how they do what they want, and how Australia locks their country down and forces them into medical tyranny and medical martial law. And oh, look at that, they're doing so well. Like, we're starting to model ourselves after tyrants. And if you guys can't see that, I really feel bad for you, because things in this country are going to continue to change rapidly by the weeks and the months, not by the years, by the weeks and the months. You know, me and many others have been screaming at the top of the rooftop saying that this was coming, and everybody fought me on it. Everybody was like, it'll never happen here, it'll never happen here. And, you know, I just got off of social media about a week or two ago, and I'm already feeling like I called back to it, because I just want to kind of throw it in people's faces. Like, and I know that's not the right thing to do. But right now, I'm just like, I'm like, I've actually had a conversation with a couple of family members and a couple of friends, and some of them, they're like freaking out, and I'm like, where were you? Like, I said this was gonna happen a year and a half ago, like even longer than that. I said this was coming, and everybody laughed at me, told me I was crazy, but now look, now everybody's freaking out. And it's like, I'm just sitting here over there, like, it's really not fazing me that much. Like, it's just wild to me. And honestly, it pisses me off, because it just shows you don't listen. You just want to hear what you want to hear. And then all of a sudden, when things don't go your way, you freak out about it. Like, and then you lose your shit. And I know that a lot of you might actually watch this. I'm not speaking to you. But, damn. Oh man, it's just wild. And really the one thing that I want you to get out of this is to just not comply. Nothing happens if we all just don't comply. If you break, if you fold, if you do what they want you to do, then things are going to continue to get worse. And if you think for 1 second that because you comply that all of a sudden you're going to get your freedom back and everything's going to go back to normal, it's never going to go back to normal. They'll make up a variant on top of another variant. Now we're talking about the Mu variant or the Mu variant. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's so stupid. Next, it'll be the variant, because they're all sheep, and they're going to be openly blatant in your face, like calling you a sheep, because you're stupid enough to believe and do what they tell you to do. Like, it never ends. And it doesn't matter if you wear your masks, if you get your vax, if you get your quadruple booster shot, none of that's going to matter. It's not going back to normal. The only thing that you can do is not comply. That's what you can do. That's it. Nothing else. Don't comply.